Everyone, thanks for watching this. I just want to give you a few tips, 5 tips that I've been thinking about recently, more in general rather than specific, about how to survive this online teaching we're all doing. Probably the most important is to be flexible. All right, so I have set up my due dates to be both sort of like soft and hard, right? So I have the due date, but then I have an until date. Because I don't want students to fall behind, but for some reason they've had a lot of power outages recently, or they've had computer issues, or they just didn't understand the assignment and they're doing it at 10 p.m. and I am not online at 10 p.m. So their question can't be addressed to the next day. So then I can address it and then I don't have to go back and change due dates. So that's one thing. The next, think about presenting your information in as many ways as possible, especially like what you want them to do. Present in class if you're doing a synchronous online sort of thing, but also follow it up in an email and follow it up in an announcement. Then they really can't say, "Ooh, I didn't know." Although plenty of times I see students with like 10 unread emails. Don't be afraid to abandon if necessary. I know you worked hard on creating all those quizzes and you want to have the students take them, but sometimes you have to just say, is this really helping the student, progressing the student, or is it just forcing them to fall behind, which was happening in one of my classes. A student was traveling back home. That's just a mess right now. And so there were daily quizzes. I dropped those quizzes, I dropped some of the assignments, and I focused on something different. Another thing I'm doing a lot more of is sort of like ungraded or sort of low stakes assignments, so that students get all this practice in before they take the graded ones. But even my graded assignments, if the last one, I used to give midterms and finals. I don't do that so much anymore. I'm trying instead to do what I call mini tests. So I give them something that they've practiced in homework, they've practiced as a quiz, and it would show up in a midterm or final as part of a larger, 1 hour thing, but instead I do it as a 5 or 10, maximum 20 minutes at the end of class. And a couple of advantages with that is that, usually students have a midterm and bam, their grades go down because we put so much pressure and it's worth so much and it's such a large percentage, right? With these mini tests, if they do really badly on one, they can still make it up and there's a lot less stress. So think about kind of breaking up what you would normally give as a test into smaller pieces. All right, so technology, right? We can't assume that our students have the best and greatest technology. Everybody says this is the technology generation. That is not true. There's a lot they don't know, and maybe they know it in their language, but they don't know it in your language. So really, if you want them to do something, online, walk them through it. You need to see like what are they doing on their computers to figure things out. Like for example, I wanted students to comment on a PDF and the student just couldn't figure out how to save it. And actually, I couldn't figure out how to save it. So we called in IT. IT joined us in Zoom and, eventually somebody saw what we needed to get the student to be able to save their PDF comments for their assignments, right? So really just make sure they have the software and they know how to use it. I've come across students who don't even know how to rename a file, so something as simple as that needs to be taught. Maybe also, again, going back to the be flexible, if you have them record videos, which is a great way to do things, what are their options? So I teach them Screencast-O-Matic, for example. That's a really good one. But we have to help them walk through and set up an account. And then we have to actually have them sort of practice doing it if possible. So again, a smaller assignment just to practice that. Some students found Screencast-O-Matic too difficult and made, so again, I walked them through how to do a PowerPoint video like this, so step by step. Some students just, they'll take their phone, they'll take a video. That's what they're able to do, you know, so be flexible, have them do whatever they can to get the work done. Next is to provide examples. Examples for everything, examples of everything, different types of examples. All of my major assignments have both student work examples and my work examples. Right? I find it very valuable to do the work I want the students to do, sort of as a reminder as to, okay, what exactly do they have to do? How do they do it? How do I explain it to them? You know, if I want them to write a research paper, I write a research paper so I can remember this is the steps involved and this is what needs to be done. And then I found giving the examples isn't enough. You need to have them analyze it, right? So again, be very specific. I gave them 2 paragraphs to analyze, and I gave them specific points like compare the topic sentence in each one, compare the word choice, compare the transitions, what's the evidence, what was the citation, right? So give them very specific things that they can look for in these examples, because just having the examples, I have found, is not often enough. All right, I'm sure all of us have classroom rules. You need online rules as well, right? Tell them they need to be in a quiet, distraction-free space. And if you're on something like Zoom, you can mute them or kick them out if they are distracting, and they will learn that if they want to participate in class, they need to do the same things they would do otherwise. They wouldn't be looking at their phone or listening to music or chatting to a friend, right? So if they break those rules, kick them out. All right, so next, you've got so many sources probably at their fingertips. Share your course or tell your teaching center, your support staff, hey, this is what I used to do in my classroom face-to-face. What can I do now? How can I convert that? You know, and they can give you such great advice. Another one is, you know, you're online, you can easily share your learning management system with a colleague and let them be the student and make sure that all the links are right and make sure that they understand the instructions. A lot of us are doing this on Zoom. That's great, because then we can bring in guest speakers from anywhere. So, you know, I had a lecturer, just another professor, kind of Zoom in with us and speak about astronomy, and that worked really well. Another thing, I talked about that split level class that I'm teaching, level 2-3. Well, level 3 students already knows a lot of the vocabulary that the level 2 students needs, the kind of keywords, the kind of organization. So have them make a video using those things that then the next student can practice with or analyze or something like that. The other thing I like to do is working within one system as much as possible. So anything I can do with my learning management system, the pages, the discussions, using it to connect to Google or Microsoft, using their conference if possible, all right, so that they don't have to go to outside things. The one thing but if it doesn't work, use the outside tools, right? There's a conference system within Canvas, for example. I think it's awful. I was using it just as something easy, like it's right there in the system, but then I started using Zoom, and Zoom is so much better for dealing with the computer issues that I won't go back to the big blue button or conference or whatever. And sorry, you can't see it, but hey, you're here. You're learning from all of our speakers today. That's fantastic. All right, this is number 5, be audible, okay? Always do video responses with your face if possible. Canvas, you can record videos in the emails. You can record videos in the announcements, in the feedback. I still do some things written, but I now always try to do some oral feedback as well. And when you have, if you're using Zoom, you can record that and upload it. I'll even record conferences with students during office hours. And I'm like, okay, when this is done, I'm going to send you an email so you can review anything. All of my written instructions also have some backup video instructions to go with it. And the advantage of this is that you can tell them, I am here to help, right? I am a person, not just a screen. You can interact with me. This is a bonus tip. I want you to go outside right now. No laptop, no phone. Go now. Too much screen time is bad for you. Thanks for watching.